Higher and higher they climbed, the mechanical crank hoisting them into thin vertigo. "Are you sure I'm old enough?" Rachel asked, trepidation stiffening her every muscle. "Doesn't matter, you're tall enough," Davis yelled back over the grinding racket. "And it sure took you long enough. Check out the view." Rachel was not checking anything out, least of all the view. The little girl fixed her eyes forward so as not to accidentally glance over the side. To distract her from the harrowing altitude and the oncoming peak, Davis pointed to the shirtless gentleman in the car directly in front of them. A constellation of freckles and moles dotted the sunburned expanse between his shoulder blades. Leaning into Rachel's ear, he said, "That dude may be tall enough for this ride, but he isn't dressed enough. How much danger could they be in if he was making jokes?" He saw her trying to smile, struggling to love this as he did. "Want to hold my hand?" he asked. "No, thank you," she chirped feebly. A nuclear blast couldn't pry her paws off that bar. 44 inches tall, Rachel was legal by a margin of 2, a milestone that had prompted a gleeful arm pump from Davis when the mangy teenager with the measuring stick had allowed his daughter entry. 6 long years he'd waited to take her beyond the kiddie rides and into the domain of true adventure, and at long last they were in his province. It was like a chef introducing his child to the kitchen of his bistro, or a trial lawyer bringing his daughter to court, but better, because sizzling pans and pompous judges were no equal to the thrill of a roller coaster. Davis beheld the assemblage of track below them, an uncoiling reptile of curves, dives, and twists. Science in the service of fun, pure but by no means simple. "This is going to rock." To which Rachel asked, "How often do people die on these things?" Davis laughed. "Rach, when you look at this ride, there are things you can see, like the turns, the drops, the loop. Wait, there's a loop? But there are also lots of things you can't see, like G-forces and friction and air resistance. You can't see centrifugal and centripetal forces, things that slow you down, that keep your butt in the seat and keep the train on the track. All those things are invisible, but they're there." Rachel appeared to find no reassurance in abstract concepts or big words, even when spoken by her father, a man who knew of such things. So Davis pointed down to the ground and said, "Hey, look, there's Mommy." Far below, Britt stood clutching the stuffed bird of indeterminate breed that Rachel had won by coming in dead last in a water gun competition. "Wave," he encouraged. "You do it," Rachel said. She was still too busy white-knuckling the bar. At last, the train crested the summit, and for the brief moment that separated the climb from the fall, a chip in time fraught with glorious possibility, or needless endangerment depending on one's orientation, father and daughter teetered over everything. The bumper boats, the carousel canopy, the pony rides. Then Davis hooted an exuberant, "Here we go!" and the track beneath them dropped away, sucking them into a steep plummet. They both screamed. The jerks and jolts came upon them like a storm of artillery, G-forces pinning them to their seats one moment, then snapping them up into the restraints the next, heaving them side to side as if the train were trying to rid itself of them. The wind puffed Rachel's feathery hair strands into a fan and Davis's wavy locks into a tight helmet. "You okay?" he yelled. "No," Rachel howled, all pretext of enjoyment vanishing in the face of death. "It's almost over." What a curiosity, seeing Rachel afraid. Fear was such an alien emotion on her. She was the fearless one. On her first day of kindergarten, 8 months ago now, it had been Davis with the butterflies in his gut. Davis with the lump in his throat when Miss Janicek, a sturdy young teacher with controlled anger and eyebrows like a Soviet premier, dismissed the parents. "Last hugs, mommies and daddies. We have so much to do today." The subtext being, "Get the fuck out. See you in June." Unlike Davis, Rachel had been unshakable that morning, striding into the classroom in cocksure pigtails, stowing her Tinkerbell knapsack in the wooden cubby with her name above it, and dispatching Davis and Britt with an economical hug. She was the embodiment of cool in the epicenter of a brouhaha. Clingy kids, berserk mothers, dads wearing garish mega-smiles that were supposed to comfort their children, but instead just freaked them out more. Davis had stood there waving goodbye to his brave girl, struggling to accept the heartbreaking reality that they were dropping their baby into the wide world being full-day kindergarten. It had always been like that. Rachel the lion-hearted. She'd been the tough one that day outside the paint-your-own pottery store when a seemingly rabid German shepherd appeared on the verge of escaping its leash and making a snack of the two of them. "Aw, he's just trying to tell us something," Rachel had cooed about the vicious beast. Nor had she lost her composure that morning in the park when those two delinquents on the swings teased her about